So guys, the question that we are going to solve today is this next greater element, and today we are going to learn 3 different approaches for this question. So make sure to watch it till the end. Now let's see what the question is saying. So we are given 2 arrays nums1 and nums2, and for each element in nums1 we need to find its next greater element in nums2. For example, for this one we need to find its next greater element in this nums2. So here this one is having 3 which is to the right and it's greater. So for this one we will be having 3 which is the next greater element. But if there is no next greater element exist, then in that case we will simply take -1. For example, this 4 does not have any next greater element in the right, so that's why we have written -1 over here. Okay, same for this 2. This 2 does not have any element which is greater and is to the right, so in that case we will simply write -1. Coming to the first approach is going to be the extreme brute force approach, where for each element in nums1 first we will find its index in nums2, and after finding the index we will check the remaining elements and we will see if that element is greater or not, and if we find any greater element then immediately we will add it to the result array, and finally we will return the result array. So the same thing we have done here in the code. What we have done, first we have taken an array in which we are going to store all the next greater element, and after that what we are doing, for each element in nums1 we are finding its index in nums2, and after finding the index what we are doing, we are checking the remaining elements in nums2 and comparing them. Okay, and if we find any next greater element, immediately we will add it to the answer, and after that what we are doing, we are storing that next greater element in our result array, and finally we will return the result array. So that's how we can solve this question using the brute force approach, where for each element in the nums1 first we are checking its index in nums2, and after finding the index we are checking the remaining elements, and if we find any next greater element we will add it to the result array, and finally we are returning the result.